So I hope everyone enjoyed yesterday's surprise video. Today I'll cover the topic I was planning to cover yesterday, but I thought you would all enjoy seeing the sakura a bit more than watching me ramble on about living positions in Kansai Gaidai. But now that you're here, you're going to listen to me ramble on living positions at Kansai Gaidai. So essentially there are two main things you can do when you come over to Kansai Gaidai. You can either live in the seminar houses, which are essentially dorms, which are set up mostly in an apartment style where you have a roommate, or you can live in homestay where you're living with a Japanese family, usually a city. Now there are pros and cons to both of these living situations, and I'll cover them each when I talk about the places themselves. So at seminar houses you live with what we call Notosan and Okasan, which means mother and father in Japanese. And what they do is they make sure that the rules are being followed and that everyone is being safe in the seminar house. Every Okasan and Otosan sets their own primary rules for how the seminar house is supposed to be run while following Kansai Gaidai's general overlay. Like, no alcohol in the seminar houses is a general Kansai Gaidai rule, but having kitchen cleaning every night based on a schedule, that's personally the seminar house to Okasan and Otosan's rule. Now the advantages to living in the seminar house are that you're very close to the school. You're never going to have trouble getting there because it's always within walking distance. You also have the fact that it's not really hard to get much of anywhere. There are buses that'll take you anywhere, and they go directly to the train station, so you can catch a train out to wherever you're going to. There are also stores within walking distance that have pretty much anything you need in general. You might have some trouble finding something specific, but there's always a way to get a general item such as toothpaste or cleaning supplies. The other advantage is getting exposed to a lot of the international students. Now, while you're in Japan, you're probably also going to meet not just Japanese students, but people from around the globe. I've met people from Sweden, from China, from Australia, and England. And while your main focus is going to be on interacting with Japanese people, it's not a bad thing to learn about these other cultures that you're being exposed to. In fact, I would greatly encourage it, especially if you're someone who's in my position and you just want to learn more about the world in general. It's not like you're alienated from Japanese students either. There are Japanese students that live in the dorms as well, and your RAs are also going to be Japanese, and they're usually very nice and easy to interact with. You're also living in a Japanese neighborhood, even if you're in the seminar houses, so you're in a Japanese environment, regardless of where you're staying. But what are the downsides? Well, one of the main downsides is that you are not in a Japanese saturated environment. You're not in a place where Japanese is constantly being spoken. The other downside is that you're having to make your own food, and that means having to budget out your own food expenses as well as balancing them with any expenses you had for fun. The only other downside I can really think of is that you have to obey the rules of the seminar house, which means no alcohol in dorm. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. It means you have to go out and find bars in the area, and Japanese bars can be an interesting experience, but I would ask around before you go out, because just like any place, there are some seedy places in the area. Let's talk about homestay. Myself, I've not had a homestay environment to stay in. However, I've had quite a few friends who took the chance to live with a homestay family. Now, it's important to note before I talk about this that all homestay environments are different. But there are a few general things that seem to stay true regardless of the family you're with. One advantage is that you're not cooking for yourself. The homestay family is supposed to take care of food for you, which includes dinner. The only meal that you're taking care of for yourself is your lunch, which you're on campus for anyway. You're also in a fully Japanese saturated environment. Japanese is spoken more around you. And I know that most homestay students tend to get better at speaking Japanese faster than those who live in the dorms. You're also being exposed to a more varied area than most of the people in the dorms, seeing as you're probably living in Kyoto or Osaka. The downsides. Well, there's a bit of a commute. Regardless of where you're living, unless you're directly in Hiragata-shi, you probably have around an hour commute to get to the campus every morning. Many host families also require that you be back before dinner so that you can eat with them, and on top of that, probably have a curfew. So for many college students, this feels like they're losing their rights, since most college students don't have a curfew anymore, and it's hard to take orders from a group of people who are not your own family setting these restrictions on you. There's also the fact that in a lot of cases, if they have children, you're expected to be teaching them English. I've heard some actual horror stories about this, where the parents actually kicked the student out because the student was going out and having fun, and the family expected that they would essentially be a free tutor. And this is something you have to watch out for, is that there are some host families out there who are trying to just benefit out of the situation because they're given extra money to pay for meals for the students that come live with them, and also they get a chance at tutoring their kids in English. I've had a good experience in the seminar house. I know homestay kids who've had really bad experiences and those who've had really good experiences. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to announce now that I probably will not be doing videos on weekends. This is a personal decision that I've made considering my schedule on weekends, the fact that I likely will not be able to put up videos, and the fact that it'll stress me out less for putting out videos during the weekdays. That's not to say if I have a chance to make a video, I won't post one up. It's just that as a general rule, during this month, weekends mean no video. I hope you learned something. I'll be back on Monday, and I'll have new things to talk about or show you. Alright, have a good day.